Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be doing the preview for the Collingwood Footy Club for the AFL Fantasy 2025 season. Yes, remember they do have the early bye. I'm just bringing it up quickly on my screen. They got a bye in round 3. That's a crowded bye, and they have 14. I don't know necessarily about 14 yet. I haven't looked into those buys. I just know that they're spread across 5 rounds, so it should just be generally a lot easier to do and sort of backfill your teams, I guess, like we always do, and you should get almost best 22 available, etc. But anyway, let's run through this. Collingwood, probably not as fancy relevant this year as they have been in past. But anyway, let's just jump into it. So, Houston here, you'll see, is the top averaging defender. We'll run through this. I'll lose track of this. I'll gain it back, etc. You'll see. But 94 average, 22. He's just going to be annoying. Won't get that early price jump or the double price jump because of the suspension, and just not fancy relevant, I don't think, especially early on. Maybe after their bye in round 3. Carlton, Sydney, Brisbane, that's tough. I just don't see them getting a run of form where you can really say they're going to do really well. Like, their bad games, their good games for fantasy are sprinkled in with some absolute stinkers. Like, you've got, this is an alright run, but either side of it, they've still got tough. I just don't see it. Like, maybe off the bye, you go, yeah, they got St Kilda, they got West Coast, then they have Carlton, then they've got Gold Coast in Gold Coast, then they've got Freo's tough, then they've got, so I just don't see an easy run. But anyway, Dan Houston, let me just flick over here. He's the second guy on this because I did put Harry Perryman. Price at 964K. Would take a tactic change or something like that for him to really do well. I don't think he can average Nick Daicos numbers of like that 108, 104 type range. And but we do get, like I said with Kitty Coleman, was it? Or no, so Ashcroft in the Brisbane review. We get a look at him. So I'm happy to wait on him. And if he is averaging 105 in the first 3, bring him in round 4, round 5, round 6, etc. Be that first upgrade that you're happy with, as he's got that round 14 bye. And yeah, that's it, simply put. Then we go down more to Perryman. He's an interesting one. I would also say with Dan Houston that I think he does take a fair few more. Let me just look. Do I have Nick Daicos in here? Nick Daicos was taking 50 kickouts a game. Maybe he takes 80 kickouts a game, but I just don't know. Maybe I just quickly have a glance. Let me just duplicate this. Then we go to AFL Fantasy. Then we go to kick-ins, and then we go to Collingwood. Should have probably done this in the other couple, but we'll do it here anyway. How more Maynard Noble? You can see that there is definitely kick-ins to take. Here they have about 130, whereas Port I think was more. Port was more kicking. So for Dan Houston. So we'll see how Collingwood are this year for kick-ins. So I would be surprised to see him take some more kick-ins than the 80 odd that just replace Howe effectively. But anyway, moving on to Perryman. You'll see here Perryman at GWS average 73. 74 in the regular season, 73 overall, 70 the year before that. But he did have these 86 and these 84 seasons, which are intriguing. And I'm just wondering what happened in those seasons that he just suddenly went bang. Simply put, what did he do? Could he get back to those numbers? Could he be a cash generator? But he does have that round 3 bye. So my thinking is with Perryman that you've got Mills, you've got Coleman, you've got other guys there that you probably want on that round 3 bye as a defender. So I just don't think so. If we look at his numbers here, if we take out that's actually probably going to help his numbers, that injury game. That's how bad he's been this year. 73.3. So yeah, I just don't know about him, to be honest with you. Just don't know. 2023 actually has a massive one. 2023 numbers actually outside of that. If we take his 2023 numbers with the injury game taken out, you'll see he actually averaged in 2023. I think that's all the regular season games, and then you had the finals. But if you take his 2023 numbers, he averaged 73.4. So I don't know if there's much value there with Perryman, to be honest with you. given that we expect Houston to take the kick-ins, but he shifted clubs. There might be a new role for him there, so we'll have to just wait and see, to be honest with you. And his best season did with an 86.5 did come with 29% CBAs. Does he get into the CBA rotation? Could be the case that he moved clubs because of that. Then we just go down here. Perryman, so Maynard's not going to go up. I don't think. Howe's not valuable. No. Collins not. Quaynor not valuable. Moore not valuable. Dean not valuable. Markov no. Frampton, Parker no. Tooth Giath no. Then we get down to Jacob Ryan. Joel Cochran's key, so he's not going to be valuable. Jacob Ryan is the interesting one. Don't think he's debuted yet. I don't think he's debuted, and if he has, he might just be min price. If he has, he might just be min. Let's just check this out. Played one game in 2023 for an injured 19. If we regulate that for 75%, let's just go 19 divided by 29, times that by 75. He probably would have scored about a 50. And his VFL numbers, I can bring them up on the screen, but simply put, average 72 in 2023, 67 in 2024, priced at about 21, 22, whatever it is. Min price, that's 40 points of value there. So if he gets into the best 23, and if you look at the Collingwood list dynamic, they really need to start blooding some of these guys in. So I think he does get chances. I think his strong VFL numbers show that he can probably average 55 or 60. So a guy that I'm looking at early on, alongside some other basement price guys for that those bench spots in the defense, simply put. Then we get to the midfielders. Nick Daicos. This guy is an absolute gun. Priced at 104.7 in the regular season and 1.074 million. Obviously didn't play finals last year, so that is his direct, all his stats from last year. What's he going to do as a pure midfielder? If we look at his stats here, if we go to Nick Daicos, I want to say he always has, it always feels like Nick Daicos has value. Every single time, it always feels like he does. Let's remove that 62 that he got injured on, that realistically we know he got injured. Like, he wasn't having a good day, but he copped knocks after knock after knock. If we just casually remove that because we can, and go here, he averages 106.6, which is 1.9 upside, removing the 62, which I already had down in my notes. But it's hard to go for him because, as I said, even though it's hard to go for Walsh and Cripps, they don't have the early buy, so it's easy to go for them than to Daicos. Daicos is a guy that I'm going to upgrade to round 14. I haven't looked at the buys, as I said, but I have a feeling that he's probably going to be a little bit easier to... it'll be easier this year to just hold all your primos. Definitely an upgrade target during this season, as he's going to be top 8 midfielder. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes bang and goes 115 plus this year. As I think his marks can go back to 4 or so marks per game, given that they've got some better distributors as well. So, yeah, be careful with him. He's going to be highly owned, I feel like, just because he's Nick Daicos, but don't own him because the primos never work, I don't think. So, yeah, Nick Daicos is probably a guy that I'm not going to have in the early part of the season, but he could be a guy that kills us because let's look at Collingwood's early start, GWS, Port Adelaide and Western Bulldogs. I would like to see how they firm up against them and how they go. But yeah, let's just see. Him against Port Adelaide, he's going to get tagged against Port Adelaide. Western Bulldogs won't tag him. But yeah, he's not the greatest scorer against those two clubs. He averages 95 and 88, 95 and 90 against them. So yeah, don't probably go for them, I would say. And then we get to the next guy on the list. Is actually down to the rookie guys. I'm really looking at the under 23s for Collingwood and not the other guys, because the other guys are probably fairly priced and the under 23s are rookie priced, basement, etc. Josh Daicos, no. Jack Cripps, no. Jordan De Goey, no. Even though Jordan De Goey is probably going to have the biggest break, probably most important for Collingwood, but just not in a fancy sense. Benapee, no. Mitchell, no. I think Mitchell's is cooked. Sidebottom probably is got one more year left. Ed Allan, the guy that I'm intrigued about. 2 games, 56 average. 1 game, it cost him, I think, 100. What did I say? Last game of the season made him from... He scored an 87, I think, in the last game of the season, ruining his average, moving him from basement price to 437k. That is a rise, I kid you not, of 207k. 207k 207 divided by 10.25. He has just made his break even 20 points higher because of one darn game. One darn game. Edward Allan has... That's why he's almost not a go, just because there's one game to end the season. If he's basic price, he is a go. But because he isn't, because he did this 87 here that you see right on my screen here, this 87, that has killed him. And I'm pretty sure if you look at it, he wasn't going too well. And then he suddenly just bursts out in the last quarter or something like that and goes and scores like a 40 in the last quarter or something like that. Let me just double check that I'm saying the right things. 2024, round 24, where's the Collingwood game? Against Melbourne, he scored an 87, 21 touches. Last quarter, he had a 31. Quarter 3, he had a 29. So he had a 60-point second half. Damn it. He would have been so perfect if he wasn't doing that. Because look at his VFL numbers. 67 average, 72 average in 23 and 24. Another big preseason. I think he's going to skyrocket. I think he could average 70. And 70 would be plus 30 or so. Early buy is going to kill him. It sucks that game has probably ruined his fantasy relevance for the whole time that he might be here in the AFL. At least for a while. Until he gets primo status, if he ever does. Because that just... 42... You can get guys for 32, 30, 25, etc. who are going to do the same and don't have the early buy. So unless he pumps it in round 0, I just don't see him being part of my side, to be honest. Then we get to another guy. I think, no, Driscoll, Sullivan, no, Long, no. Harry DeMattia. Basement price. If you look at his 2024 Colts, DeMattia, let me actually check. I think I've got his VFL numbers wrong. DeMattia, 13 games. Okay, that sounds about right. Let me just rearrange these as I had them slightly wrong because these were back in the times when I was doing them off another site, so I had them slightly wrong, the fancy numbers, etc. But you can see, for those looking on the doc, 83 in 11 games at Coates level, and then in VFL the following year, 13 games, 59.5. I think he just gets a slot inside, to be honest with you. I think he could be best 22. If he isn't, he isn't, but definitely a guy to look at. Is only mid-only, which is a little bit annoying, but basement price, these guys could be interesting, and found a strong runner form. If I go to VFL here, let me look at his logs. Look at his back end of the year, slightly better. So it has shown stuff. Started off the year a little bit tough, but yeah, back end of the year definitely showed some things or two. Like round 11 onwards, 88, 51, 70, 39, 40, 74, 49, 76, 107. Could be interesting to see where he plays. But yeah, I just think he's a guy that just to watch in preseason. Basic price, these guys, someone's going to pop. And then I think, yeah, we don't really have as much for Collingwood, to be honest, compared to other clubs. It's a really weird one. Just because you can't really focus on their primo guys because they don't really have any relevance because they're early buy. Like Darcy Cameron, point proven. Mason Cox, Oscar Sean, no. Ilaro Smith still needs more time. Charlie West, I think they just drafted. Then we get to Pat Lipinski, 68.7. I just don't see it, to be honest with you, taking that next step. Unless he wants to go full on ball, which I don't think he does, to be honest with you, simply put. Like, let's just look at this. Lipinski here. Let's look at this quickly when it loads. Here you'll see 28% time CBAs for an 80 a couple of years ago. So 2022 when he moved across to Collingwood. But I think he's sort of found that role in the non-CBA role. And they're just ultra inconsistent. So if you do remove some games where he just didn't play, when you remove this 17, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes up a little bit. But I just don't see him getting too much up there in terms of price, so that's why he's not on my list at the moment. Elliott, no. Membry, no. Schultz, no. Hoskin, Elliott, Myercheck, no. McStay, Hill. And I'm saying no because these guys are small forwards. They don't do well. They need a role change, and I just don't see that role change happening. McQuarrie, interesting one. Did look at him slightly, but just don't think he has too much early on, or too high priced almost in a way. Harvey Harrison doesn't have an ACL, so I don't think he plays. Finlay McRae just needs to get out of Collingwood at all costs at this point. I just don't see him playing too much. And yeah, if we look at the numbers for Finlay Macrae, you can see 11 games, 101. So he could be a guy I should have probably put down here, but I don't just think so, to be honest with you, for Macrae, that he gets game time. Reece McGuinness, an interesting one. I've heard some reports on social media that he's going to play at halfback. Could be an interesting guy if he plays at halfback. If we look at his VFL numbers, he averaged 68.6 and 61.9 in 23 and 24 respectively, and 9 games at AFL level for a 32.6 in 2024. If we look at Reece McGuinness here, a guy that I almost wanted the Swans to have a look at, just because he's that very much that hybrid tall midfielder, 191, 192, I think, and so could do really well. Would be priced off his 2024 number of 32.6, gets a 3% discount. And yeah, he's just struggled as the third tour in Collingwood's forward line. Could he get some midfield time, or will he have that positional shift that I've been talking about to half back? Could be that. And could just be a bench option for the forward line, given the lack of value in the forward line, to be honest with you, simply put. Priced at 31.6, which is 324k, I believe. So could be interesting. And that's pretty much it for Collingwood. Reef, yeah, just look at his numbers here. You can see some really good numbers in the VFL. If you remove the 15, because I don't know what happened in that 15, maybe he was maybe he was on standby for the AFL or something. I don't think that 15 would have been relevant. If you just remove that 15 straight up, his averages go up to 67.8. Remove a 35, because that 35 just looked weird, to be honest with you. Then it goes up to a 72.4. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And if you remove all the numbers here as well, all the background noise from him in his AFL last year, 47. So there is some value, I think, there. That's already 16 points of value. Positional change, could he get up? Could he average 65 off halfback if he does play that? There's value there, especially on the bench with the double price jump early. But I just don't know if he does. Technically, that's staying. So we'll just see with him. But anyway, I think that's a good end point for this video. A lot shorter, because I don't know who to talk about at Collingwood, because they just play the old guys. Simply put, I know that is sort of... Collingwood fans probably aren't going to be happy with me saying that, but I just don't know who plays for them. They're under 23s. They didn't really have anyone that was draftable. I did look at Will Hayes, but I think he's going to play small forward for... and just that's not valuable early on, so I didn't really count him in that. So they just don't have any midfielders coming through. No real position changes other than the Reece McGuinness rumours. And they brought in 26-year-olds that are sort of just maybe 15, 10 points off their sort of value. And even though I talked about them, they might not be valuable because they have the early buy and stuff like that. And you're really hunting those 30 point per game higher averages for value, really. So that's the video there. If you did enjoy it, remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, turn the notification bell on, and if you are listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a rating over there, so that you guys will see when I upload next, which should be, if I just quickly scroll down, Essendon tomorrow, 12 p.m. See you guys then. Bye, guys.